Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every Rh negative pregnancy.
Hello and welcome to the Outside View, presented by Women's Cricket Zone and brought to you by BSV, Puma, Food and Wellness, MRI Hospitals and MPL Sports Foundation. So the semi-final one, after having a fascinating tournament so far, we are down here with 4 teams, Australia and West Indies facing each other in the first semi-final. Of course, a little bit of rain had its say there, but we're going to have a 45 overs per side game, and we are all set to watch the action unfold. To discuss the match that we're going to see right now, in a few minutes time, I have alongside me Marina and Mohit. Welcome both of you to the show. So, of course, we've seen some intriguing contests unfold in the group stage of this tournament. And finally, we are here with Australia and West Indies at our first semi-finals. Australia probably aren't interested in anything less than domination. But if we have to talk about the group stage match when Australia and West Indies faced each other, Australia had won the game and the venue was also the same. And the news from the middle from today is that West Indies have won the toss and they've elected to bowl first. Marina, of course, Australia did dominate the proceeding. It was Elise Perry show against West Indies the last time when they faced each other. So Australia have won all the 7 games in group stage as well, and they would be batting first now. So they are entering this contest as favorites. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for semi-finals, I mean, you have to forget whatever has happened in the group stage. And, West Indies really prayed hard and they got their wish. So I think that they are not going to miss out on this chance. If you remember early on, we were doing some shows and you asked me if they're about the teams who can beat Australia, and I picked Australia. I picked West Indies and India. So I think, yes, they were looking for this opportunity and they have to grab it with both hands. The rain is there. You can expect a bit of good contest with the ball and the bat. Australia, they are a formidable side, but again, I mean, cricket is a very funny game, and the way this World Cup has unfolded, I think you can expect anything.
We can expect, of course, anything. And if I have to just quickly give you a fact out there, 6 years back on this very day, Australia faced England in the semi-finals of the 2016 T20 World Cup. They won it to face West Indies in the finals, where West Indies actually won the finals. So it would be interesting to see how these two teams are going to face each other today. After having won the toss, Stefanie Taylor opted to bowl first. Goes as a good decision. Mohit, what do you think about it?
Yeah, anytime there's rain around, I think captains always choose to bowl first. And the weather forecast for today isn't great anyway. So there might be further rain. So in such a situation, it's always better to bowl first, because when you have a target in front of you in a reduced match, it always helps. Otherwise, West Indies are a team which likes to bat first in ODIs. Uh, all their 3 wins in the tournament have come after batting first, but I think like the weather kind of took it out of their hands. So I think chasing is the right decision. Otherwise, they are a team which like to bat first, but I think like they made the right call today. And yeah, like with a lot of rain around, there might be a little bit of moisture as well in the wicket, which might help their bowlers strike early. Even in the league stage match, I think they got Elisa Healy and Meg Lanning out quite early, and then there were a couple of dropped catches as well, which probably had they taken, you never know what could have happened, because even after the match, Meg Lanning did say that their batting was really challenged by the West Indian bowlers, and the West Indian bowling attack was quite disciplined. So yeah, you never know in a shortened game with a lot of moisture around what the West Indian bowlers might do.
Definitely. And Australia into the semi-finals and rain, affecting the game. This is a known story to us. We've seen this happen in 20, but if you're talking about the good form of Australia heading into this World Cup as well, and of course in this group stage as well. But one positive that West Indies would definitely take is that they have beaten Australia in the 2016 T20 World Cup final, as I told before. And of course, Ellis Perry is not playing this game because of back spasm, and AP Fletcher unfortunately misses out due to COVID. So West Indies would have their spirits high today, Marina, because the journey that they've had to the top four, we saw them enjoy that very moment when South Africa beat India. So they know that how important this is. Haley Matthews also tweeted about the same, that what a special moment it was for the team to get to the top four, and they would want to produce a performance that they did in the first half of the tournament, upsetting New Zealand there in the first match.
Well, definitely. I mean, it's a rare gift for them, and again, like I said, they would like to make most out of it. That's one shot for them again for the final. Yes, they have beaten Australia. It's more or less the same side. I think a couple of names are missing, but most players are the ones who actually went and win for the West Indies. So I think they need to take out the positives. They have to forget the whole tournament. This is just one game, new day, and a new opportunity for them. And the way they reacted, it showed how much that meant to the whole West Indian team. And you can see that there's a lot of passion and emotions involved getting to this semi-final. But I'm sure that, yes, they would again have to be spot on, because Australia, they are a very they're a dominating team. But I think the West Indians have the resources, and I've always said that if any team wants to beat Australia, they have to play some unconventional cricket. You have to have a very big heart and believe that you can go and, kind of dominate against Australia. That's the only way you can beat them. By resisting, early breakthroughs, by resisting them as a team, that can actually set Australia off, because they like to dominate from ball one. And if you kind of get some partnership early on in batting and early breakthroughs, that kind of sets them on the back foot, because you know how they have the reputation to dominate every phase of the game. So I think that West Indies has a really good chance here, and they want it really bad, so they have to put in the hard work today.
Some unconventional type of cricket is what we would expect from West Indies today. But let's have a look at the playing 11 to see what combinations are we going to see today, as both the sides are facing each other in the first semi-final game. Of course, Australia are unchanged from their last game. They've made no changes there. And if you have to talk about the West Indies, of course, they had to make a forced change in if Anisa Mohammed comes in for AP Fletcher there. So no other change out there as well. But coming to you, Mohit, and the preview also yesterday, we were discussing that what could be the replacement for AP Fletcher. Anisa Mohammed's number, of course, aren't very impressive against Australia there, but experience. It's probably something that you can't buy from a supermarket. And a semi-final game, a very important one from the West Indies, and probably that's the reason why we are seeing Anisa Mohammed in the setup today.
Yeah, I don't think there could be any other reason other than experience for playing Anisa Mohammed. But I personally don't think it's the right decision, because, like you said, she's somebody who's played a lot against Australia and never really had any success against them. And she's a very good bowler. Like, I'm a big Anisa Mohammed fan, but looking at the conditions today and the opposition, I think West Indies probably missed a trick by not playing someone like Alia Alain, or even if they wanted to go for experience, someone like Shakira Salman would have been a really good choice, because she's capable of bowling through those middle overs and also at the death. Whereas Anisa Mohammed, in the last few years, is not the same force when it comes to her death bowling. She can still bowl well in the middle overs, but now with West Indies playing Anisa, they have 4 off spinners, which I think is one too many, especially against a team like Australia, which has 5 right-handers in their top 7. So I really think West Indies probably missed a trick there. But you can never count Anisa Mohammed out. Like, you just need to look at the match against England, where she bowled that final over and turned the match on its head with 2 wickets. So yeah, she's a champion player, and I hope for West Indies' sake she repays the faith.
West Indies obviously would hope for that. Your take on that, Marina? Would you wanted to see someone like an Ali Aline coming in, or Shakira Salman, or what do you make of this decision, getting in another off spinner in the side? How do you look at this decision?
Well, yeah, given the fact that how the weather has turned out and rain is expected, I think probably Salman would have been a good choice. But I would still keep Anisa in because she is a very wise operator. And probably we've seen that in the same venue, Australia did struggle against spinners. That too in the Bangladesh game. So probably spinners need to be a bit more wise about with the pace they might bowl. I think a little less pace for the spinners can help and trouble Australia. So yes, they need to have a plan, but right up front, I think with Selman and Shamilia Connell, they could have really, brought that support they were looking for early on, and maybe provided breakthroughs because I think they both are really great pacers, and they might have challenged Australia. But coming back to spinners, I think Anisa is really wise. She can keep her nerves. She can provide a bit of experience in the middle overs as well. She can change the pace, and probably we'll have to see if she can, extract something out of the surface. But yes, you need experience in the slot. I'm not sure what combination West Indies have been thinking about, but I hope it works out for them because they've got just only one shot. But still, it's a decent bowling side. The concern for me has always been the batting, especially in this tournament. So let's see how they can sort that out against Australia.
And of course, another name that we should discuss about is Karishma Ramarat with her economical bowling. And probably where the Australian batters haven't seen a lot of her. Probably they faced her last time, if I'm not wrong, in the year 2019, an unknown quantity there, Mohit. So she would also probably play a very important role in today's match, considering the approach and the kind of game that she's shown in the tournament so far, not leaking a lot of runs there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like she's been extremely economical, and the key against a team like Australia is to pick wickets right through the innings because they bat really deep and they never really take their foot off the accelerator. So even if you get the top two or three players early, you have players of the quality of Beth Mooney and Talia Magra at number 4 and 5. So striking in the middle overs is something that will be absolutely crucial. And Karishma is someone who'll probably bowl her 10 overs between overs 11 to 40. So I think her role will be quite critical. And even if she doesn't pick wickets, if she can maintain the economy rate at which she has been bowling, those numbers would be really good against a team like Australia, who very rarely score below 5 runs an over. And I think Karishma's economy rate has been around 4, and especially the spell that she bowled against Bangladesh. I think she went wicketless, but there were 4 maidens in her 10 overs and she only conceded 15 runs. So, what she's shown in her relatively young international career is that she has really good control. However, the point that you need to keep in mind here is the way Australia plays spin is very different to almost any other team. Like, they don't allow any spinner to settle and dictate terms to them. The best example of that is probably Sophie Ecclestone. We saw how Australia played her in the opening game, and how every other team has struggled against her. So it won't be easy for Karishma, but if she can match or even keep her economy rate below 5 in this match, it will be a huge boost for West Indies because that will like take care of the middle overs and give them a significant edge heading into the second inning. So yeah, she'll definitely be a key player in that first innings.
Of course, and that's what we always keep talking, no, that we get wickets when we try to sort of put the batters under pressure through the dot balls, and that is what Karishma Ramarat has been doing. But then talking about the bowling in the the opening bowlers there, we saw Hayley Matthews coming in to open the bowling. But if I have to ask you, Marina, do you think Hayley Matthews is going to open the bowling today, or they would go with Shamilia Connell and Chanel Henry?
I think for me, she should with Shamilia Connell because you have to do something different, I said, against Australia. And yes, you need to understand that Australia has a certain pattern of playing. They like to dominate whenever they're in the middle. So the batters like to come down the wicket, like Mohit said. They play spinners totally different. If you can just analyze the impact of point of impact for the spinners that Australian batters have, it's way down outside the crease. So expect from Australian batters that they are going to attack you. But on the flip side, when a batter attacks you, it also gives you and open up an avenue to grab wickets because they will give you chances. So that's where West Indies has to capitalize. just be patient because they're going to attack you. Be very wise in your plan. So yes, I think Matthews should be coming in bowling. You have to do something different out of the box, maybe surprise Australian side. But Shamilia, she's got a really decent pace. She's got the bounce. She can seam as well. On the other hand, if you can take the pace off, again I say that with the not lack of pace, but change of pace, West Indies spinners might ball. It has a huge role to play. So they have to keep that in mind. So two different bowlers at two different ends might work for West Indies up front.
Big task for them to stop the dominating batters that Australia have. And of course, there has been 300 plus scores coming in from Meg Lannon and Rachel Haynes in this tournament so far. Of course, 200 plus from Beth Mooney as well. They bat pretty deep, Mohit. So all the probably top 4 batters of the Australian setup, they've scored 50 plus scores at least once in the tournament. And that is something that is a very big positive for the side. And we always keep talking how balanced Australia is. Even if the top order hasn't performed, there was a time when the middle order stepped up and the lower middle order with Ashley Gardner there, with Talia Magra there. So looked a settled batting unit to pose great threats to the West Indies bowling unit.
Yeah, like the thing about the Australians is like if you just look at the variety in that top 7, like all of them are very different to each other. Elisa Healy is someone who always gets them off to a blazing start, which is balanced very well by someone like Rachel Haynes, who's like relatively slower but much more quicker than most other players in international cricket. She has the ability to suss out conditions really well. And you've been talking about how West Indies beat Australia in the 2016 T20 World Cup final. But the match which Australia will want to go back to, is the 2013 50 over World Cup final, because that is where they actually beat the West Indies and in the same format and in India. So, and actually in that final, Rachel Haynes was one of the best players for Australia. I think she got a 50. And she'll be key, especially if, like Marina said, and I agree, that West Indies might again choose to open the bowling with Hayley Matthews, which is something that they did do in the league stage match against Australia. So someone like Rachel Haynes will be absolutely key because she's a great player of spin. And the thing with Rachel Haynes is she has the ability to not just punish bad balls, but also rotate the strike of good balls and sometimes put them to the boundary. And that puts the bowlers under a lot of pressure, because when you have a player like Elisa Healy, you anyways are always on the defensive because you don't want her to get off to a flyer. But you also have someone like Rachel Haynes at the other end who's very good at rotating the strike and playing out the situation based on merit. And like you said, they bat deep. They have a player like Jess Jonathan at number 8 who's opened the batting in the Big Bash on occasions. And she's barely been required in this tournament. I don't think Jess Jonathan's had a bat yet. So I hope, I don't think she'll be required today as well, because Australia's top 7 are more than capable of doing the job. But even if they like lose a few wickets early, their numbers 5, 6, 7, 8 are more than capable of picking up the slack. Like we saw in the match against Bangladesh as well. They were 5 for 70, but then a 66-run partnership between Beth Mooney and Annabelle Sutherland, and they relatively cruised home in the end. So yeah, their batting depth is a huge asset for the team.
Definitely. And of course, Meg Lannon has looked in very good form in the recent games as well. She loves to come there and express herself. And Beth Mooney, as we say, that she comes in there and knows how to anchor the innings well. So both of them would be key in today's batting performance, because you need, considering that Hayley Matthews and Deandra Doughton are known to give the team good starts, and probably that is what the team would also want them to. So Australia would be thinking that their openers, of course, give them a good start, but if early breakthroughs happen, because as you said, the only way to kind of restrict Australia is get their top order. So a lot of responsibility will then come to Meg Lannon and Beth Mooney as well, Marina.
Yes, definitely. I mean, the thing that Australia actually for Australia that stands out is that I've been mentioning that each and every player understands their role in the playing 11, and they are, sort of now habitual in going out, taking responsibility and knowing their strengths and delivering for the team. We've seen that oftentimes that if the top order hasn't clicked, anyone coming down, like Beth Mooney played an exceptional innings the other day. They know that they have the ability. They know that as a team, everyone can rely on each other, and it doesn't really matter if they get in trouble, whether it's on the top, in the middle, at the end, in the bowling. I mean, there's a lot of assets around for that playing 11 in the yellow shirts. So it's not a problem for them. But again, I think you have to be exceptional. You have to understand the mindset of Australia to able to beat them, and that's exactly that. They are pretty confident. They like to dominate, and if you can hold them for initially for some moment, they try to get under pressure and feel that why they are not able to dominate, because they have a huge reputation to hold up to. So these are the minor things that you can play with Australia to try and get them do something different that might give you a chance to beat them. So yes, there's depth in the bowling. They've got batting, a huge batting lineup, so no problems for them. But again, every team can have a bad day, and I actually said that if Australia is going to break that myth or not. But again, they do give you opportunities. They do get out. We've seen that, but it's just the matter if you're allowing them to come back or not. That's where the game changes.
Capitalizing on the momentum that you receive is what West Indies would want to aim in this game. But of course, the anthems are almost done. The players will be out in a few minutes to start the action. So it's prediction time now from our experts, of course. Coming to you, Mohit, first. How much is Australia putting for West Indies on board?
I think Australia will be targeting something around 260 because I know it's a shortened game, but that doesn't matter to a team like Australia because they always look to be aggressive and put the match out of the opponent's reach. And I don't think West Indies have scored more than 260 so far in this tournament. So I think if Australia get 260 on this pitch, which has anyways been tricky right through the tournament and has had plenty of assistance for the spinners, they'll be very confident. And if West Indies bowl well, like I think West Indies would want to restrict Australia below 200 so that they can operate at a rate at which they are comfortable in the chase. But I think Australia have too much of firepower in their batting, and 250 is something that I see Australia getting on this pitch.
250, 260. But then if you have to restrict them early on, who would be the pick of the bowler from West Indies, Mohit? Your pick, one.
I think Shamilya Connell is someone who's bowled really well, and ever since Courtney Walsh has taken charge of the West Indian team, his impact has been very clear. They've improved rapidly. But like the two players who've improved the most under him are Connell and Henry. And I think she's bowled very well throughout the tournament, sometimes without reward because a few catches have gone down of her bowling. And yeah, she's a very good, skillful new ball bowler and also comes back later in the innings. So I think if West Indies are to make an impact today, she will probably have to do the bulk of the wicket taking for them. So I'll pick Shamilya Connell as my bowling pick.
Okay, then coming to Marina, how much are West Indies chasing?
Well, I think they need to work hard up front, and probably they would feel comfortable something around 230, 240, but obviously it's a long shot for them. They have the resources, but again, they have to be brilliant in the field. Yes, they've got a good bowling side, but again, how they rotate their bowlers, it's very crucial for them. I think Deandra Doughton has a huge role to play in this game as well with both bat and ball, and fielding has to be exceptional for West Indies.
So 230, 240 is something that you predict.
Yeah,
And your pick
yeah,
of
I think
bowler?
they should be looking to restrict them. Doughton, I think that she has a huge role to play, and she is that sort of character that whenever she's challenged, she's facing a opposition like Australia, she's in a totally different mode. So I think that she might be standing out today. Should be actually for West Indies.
Yeah, the West Indies fan and the team would want a Deandra Doughton special once again, the one we saw in the first game today. We've got the predictions from our experts, and the Stefani Taylor-led side and the Meg Lanning-led side are all set to play the first semi-final of this Cricket World Cup. We'll of course pick up this conversation in the mid-show. Until then, you stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates on women's cricket.